Baby, it is cold outside. Is it cold where you all are? Anyway, went down to the mailbox today. Can't wait to see what you all had to say about episode number 2. I love hanging out with you all, and I hope you love hanging out with me, because that's what we're doing here. We're just hanging out with each other. And every week I get to read your comments on YouTube and Facebook. But let's talk about real mail. Do y'all get a bunch of catalogs? Man, I'm getting a lot more than I used to. I think if you order from one, they just must all put you on their mailing list, which I like it. I mean, I love all the catalogs. And I got a lot of wonderful Christmas cards. I don't send Christmas cards, but I get a lot of Christmas cards, and I'm grateful for that, because every January and February, I take all my Christmas cards. I'm going to do a whole Christmas issue or an episode, and we'll talk about traditions. But one of my traditions is I like to take the Christmas cards and I keep them by my couch or by my bed. And every night I take one of the families and I pray over them. And so that's just something I got from my brother-in-law and sister-in-law years ago. So anyway, somebody asked me where I get my clothes. Like, stuff is so old, it's ridiculous. I really need to try to find some clothes I like. This coat is a cute coat. Don't you think it's a cute coat? Somebody left it at my house. I have no idea whose coat this is, but I liked it. I started wearing it, and I thought, well, I guess maybe they'll see it on this episode and think, why does Linda have on my coat? Anyway, well, let's start with talking about our winners. First of all, people are saying, okay, how can I support this? What can I do? Well, first of all, anytime that you comment, and what I'm interested in is your thoughts. Like, what are the choices you're making that serve you well? What are some new choices that you're making? I want you to become very, very cognizant of the choices that you're making and how you're spending that 168 hours. This week, our episode was on the crease in the piece of paper and how we're programmed to think. And your homework was to begin to monitor that television set and your devices, and what are you allowing in your head? And so just actually commenting with what you are doing and what you are changing or what you're doing well. I love hearing and reading your thoughts, okay? Because this is a very interactive thing. I get to hang out with you, you get to hang out with me, and I think it's kind of cool that we do, and we're making this whole little community. And the more you comment, the more I learn about you, and the more I get to know you on a personal level. Now, as far as the drawing is concerned, that is by sharing it. Some of you have said you're sharing it with your church group, your youth group, your clubs that you're a part of, your business groups, the teams that you lead in your business. Those are all great places, because guys, how people run their life is how they run a business. So it's all 6 of one, half dozen of the other. So everything, especially this first few months, is going to be on mental health. And gracious knows we all need a little bit more of that. Would you not agree? Well, I'm proud to announce our first winner. Her name is Sophie Anderson. I was so excited to draw her name, because Sophie, I've known since she was in the, I think 6th grade or 7th grade. She was in my home ec class back in the early 1980s. And she's been a friend and follower on social media for a long time. And she was one of the people who shared my episode this past week. So please do that and continue to do that. That is the best thing you can do to help build our audience and build this community together. Okay, let's head on over through the magic of this great tool called Zoom, and I'll share my screen with you. And let's start over with my website. I think most of you by now should be familiar with it. This is where you sign up. You'll get your episodes in text or email there. And then the episodes, if you want to, once you get that link, you'll be able to watch your episodes here, or you can look for them on YouTube. You can subscribe there. This is my store, stuff I didn't know I needed. And so Sophie was our winner this week. Deborah Brewer was our winner last week. They get to come go shopping over here with stuff they didn't know that they needed. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, so that's that. I think you all are familiar with lindatoupin.com. All right, so let's head over to YouTube. Now, YouTube, you can subscribe over there as well and get notifications there, I'm sure, as well. And this episode, number 2, was the crease in the piece of paper. And it's all about programming, how you were programmed, how you've allowed yourself to program. And I know some of you in your comments said, we really need to talk about the programming that went on in COVID, and we will. I mean, there was a lot of fear programming that went on that's really going to affect people the rest of their life if they're not really careful. So I ask you to begin to monitor your media, both the media here on your phone and the media, your television, how much you're allowing in your head. So let's go over here and let's just read a few of the comments over here in this particular episode. All right.
To change generations of people that have not been born.
You know, this chick is kind of smart. Okay. You have the power to change generations not yet born. That's really good stuff. You probably ought to share that with a few people. Anyway, okay. So Sassy After 60 she said, you know, it is very true that sometimes messages spoken have created a generational cycle of hurt. And unfortunately, that is so true. T-Girl says your teaching is like a cool drink on a blistering hot day. Oh, thank you. I think that's a really wonderful, wonderful, wonderful comment. And it is a detox. You're exactly right. And that is what it's entitled to do. Again, when you were talking about the news, said, you know, I grew up in a house where the parents had on the news, Joanna Riley says, but my best conscious decision I made was not to allow to get news in a biased way, to look for unbiased news. Okay. Didn't have time for all that negativity. All right. So let's head on down here to everybody's talking about how much more positive their life is when they limit the amount of news. Oh, yes. Miss Kaz, yeah, I'm sure Mike Rowe will come calling one day. I don't know how many thousand episodes I have to do, but I will get his attention. That is for sure. I love this from, it's a community canners. Socia? Community canners. Anyway, she says, I'm looking forward to the next 30 years of my life, that and all the knowledge that you've gained along the way. Isn't that so true? Okay. Yes, I am going to talk more about COVID creases in upcoming episodes. Thank you so very much for that. Little Lady 62067 says, I try to fill my days, first of all, with God, reading my Bible, devotional, contemporary Christian music. I do not get sucked into Facebook socially, but I have put daily limits on it since listening to your first podcast. Okay, good, because I'm going to give you more practical tips, and one is to set a timer on how much you allow yourself to scroll. So that is very, very good. Okay. Having noticed the puppy in the background, I was dog sitting at that time. That is not my dog. I have 2 cats, but I was dog sitting. Okay. Let's head over to Facebook now. And I have 2 Facebook pages, and some of you may know that. One is my personal, this is my professional page. I didn't do much with it for the past 10 or 12 years, but I have started using it a lot because I can stream my episodes in here. And so if you want to get them live streamed in here, this is a good place to follow. Okay. And so let's take a look at some of your comments here. And I just love it. We're starting to collect people from all over the world. Isn't this fun? Isn't our little community really coming together? And Tricia says, call me an ostrich. However, I quit watching and listening to the news years ago. So a lot of people are saying, I read my news. I'm reading my news because I can't handle all that toxicity and shrillness of listening to somebody tell you the news. Judy says, usually in the morning, I choose a preacher to help me think spiritually and to guide my prayers for the day. And my husband is my filter on the news. He'll tell me what's going on in the world. Okay, we have to do what we have to do. Jennifer says, I've made changes such as investing in me with dedicated exercise and not watching as many television programs. It's all programming, people. Everything. What I'm doing right now with y'all is programming. So we get to choose what programming we want. I love it when people say they love their homework assignment. Thank you, Amy. All right, let's keep on going down through here. Becky says, I'm so glad I found your podcast. These are wonderful stories. I've stopped watching and listening to the news media much over the years. I understand. It's just more than you can handle. That's why I read my news. For those of you who missed that episode, I read the Wall Street Journal. That's where I get my as unbiased as I can find. I love this. I want to address this issue. It's Brenda. Is it Brendan Mahoney? Okay. She's married to Michael. Brendan says it gets better with every episode. Now, Brenda, wait a minute. have to show you my face, Brenda. I have to tell you something. I am working real hard, Brenda, to quit saying, okay, okay, okay. That was the first episode. I was like, good Lord. The second episode, I have got to quit touching my hair. I don't care what my hair does. I have made a vow. Now I can't not talk without my hands. Okay. Now I would just not have a podcast because I couldn't do that. But how many times in episode 2 did I touch my hands? It was ridiculous. Okay. I promise they are going to get better over time. I will get better at this. I promise I will get better. Thank you. Let's go on down here. Thanks so much. Okay, come on, Micro. Yes, Amy. Okay, come on, Micro. I love that you all loved my mailbox time. I really love doing it. It's very spontaneous and I don't really have to prepare for it. Oh, Kathleen, love you, my friends. And she says, I love being reminded I'm in control of my thoughts and I get to make them positive, productive, and good for the future of mankind. Yes, ma'am. Watching the news has not been, haven't watched cable for 5 years. Guys, start reading your news and turn off that television if you want to get rid of some of this stuff in your head. And I want to end with Allison here. This was really sweet. She says, I shared your Crease in the Piece of Paper message as the first children's sermon as youth director at my new church. The main sermon was about being kind to yourself, a series on kindness. So positive affirmations were shared by all. I have heard you share it a few times when I was in Lexington. So many adults told me in the weeks following how life-changing that children's sermon was. And now I'm excited to share this episode with them. Oh, good. Thank you so very, very much. I have heard from several of you. You are sharing it with youth groups. And I think, oh my goodness, there's just so many. I love this. Shireen says, I think I slaughtered her name last time, and she said, it was my mama's 2 best friends. My mama named me after Sherry and Renee as Shireen. Cherie. Okay, I love it. It was great. See, I'm getting to know you all. Please start commenting more. Tell me more choices that you're making, more creases that you're changing, and anything that you want to share. You guys have been absolutely wonderful. Let me stop this here, forget what I'm doing, and just let you know that next week will be, this coming week, this Thursday, will be my friend Pat Pearson, author, coach, international teacher, and trainer. And her episode is, if your pants aren't fitting, try to change your thoughts or something like that. I named it because it was something funny she said when I interviewed her. And it's all about how do you begin to take control over your thoughts? How do you begin to erase some of this negative messaging from the era of COVID and perhaps era before then? But anyway, she'll be my guest speaker, and then I'll have a Christmas episode. So anyway, you guys, thank you for the great mail. You all have a wonderful day. And don't leave your clothes. That's the message today. Don't leave your clothes at my house.